I am extremely loud. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming to the pyramid tutorial. So I got in the elevator this morning, and there were these three guys for that other conference, the expensive one. They were all in their suits. One of the guys was reading the Wall Street Journal, and I go in with this thing on, and I just wished I could see those bubbles coming out of their head. What are they thinking? You know, are they thinking, what in the hell is this guy doing? Or are they thinking, man, I'd kill to be him and give up on my soul-crushing job? So I choose to believe the latter because what we're doing is awesome. And this is going to be a very good tutorial. I'm Paul Everitt from Agendalist Consulting with my lovely assistant, Chris McDonough. Yeah. The creator of Pyramid. We're going to do a couple of administrative things on behalf of PyCon. Read that quickly. And help me remember at 11:50, we have a 20-minute break. And then at the end, I will give you information about the feedback forms. If you're here for Pyramid, come on in. I'll get you checked in just a little bit. And please take them up on the volunteering. They do a very good job. You do a very good job on running PyCon, but they could use a little bit of help as well. Yeah, right. Yeah, no, you shouldn't. Just go to the registration desk and say, I'd like to help, especially for the afternoon session. Okay, I'm the kind of person that I don't want to eat my vegetables first. I want to eat dessert first, and I know it's early in the morning for a lot of people. Some of you bad boys and girls might have stayed up a little bit late last night when you should have gotten your sleep preparing for the Pyramid tutorial. So instead of giving you a bunch of marketing fluff now, I'll give you a bunch of marketing fluff later. But instead, we will begin. This is going to be a hands-on tutorial. You're actually going to type things. It will be organized into 11 steps, and you're going to write a Pyramid application. If you choose to do Python 3.3, you will be using Python 3.3. So let's get started. You choose the PyCon network, and then use your web browser to go to anything, and then you get connected. This is the painful part. We'll spend the next 20 minutes discovering why software sucks. Reinforcing. We have people. I can walk around and help. Chris can walk around and help. Others can walk around and help get you installed. But start with this Python setup and then do the Pyramid setup. The network is very slow, so you can skip Python 3.3 if you already have a Python 2.7 installed. Pyramid tutorials, readthedocs.org. Raise your hand if you were already set up. Good. That's good. All right. Raise your hand if you need help getting set up. I'll bring up this Python setup. All right.
The network keeps on like setting and
that's going to happen all day long. And that's going to happen all day long.
So yeah, I don't. If there's like some, well, I don't know.
Yeah. This is just going to, are you trying to get Python?
I'm trying to get.
Or are you trying to do a?
I think I tried the easy install and.
Okay. Yeah, for now, just easy install Pyramid.
Okay.
And then those others, you will need to, there will be a step where I tell you to do it again. And then maybe during the breaks or whatever, if you want to try those. For now, if you are at the point of the easy install, just do the easy install Pyramid. Skip nose and web test and SQL Alchemy and those other things. We will do those later.
Thank you. Yeah, and the internet is very slow, so if you guys have a tethering solution, that might get you the software faster.
Ah, yes. Does anybody have a mobile phone with a Wi-Fi you'd like to donate? Anybody else stuck? Okay, back.
Sorry.
No problem, no problem. I need to get you checked off. What's your name?
Jay Craig.
Okay. Did you get a handout, Jay?
I did not.
Okay, here you go.
I actually just had a question.
Hey, I'm Paul.
Jay.
Nice to meet you.
Did you say 27 is okay?
27 is okay.
All right, I'll set it.
All right. Do you have easy install?
I do, yep.
Did you easy install Pyramid?
Yep.
All right. If during the course of whatever, if you want to switch over to Python 3.3 and be brave.
Okay.
We're joking that we're doubling the number of Python 3 people this morning. Okay. You okay?
Yeah.
All right, good. Yes.
So I can't remember what I installed. I mean, I know I've got 3.3, and I think I did the pyramid, but I was kind of halfway in this whole thing there.
Okay. Let's see. So, yeah, you were typing a command and you didn't finish it, so hit Control C. Okay, so you're back to that. Let's see. So, did you easy install Pyramid?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you make a? Let's see. Did you go back up in the docs? Sorry, in here.
Oh.
Go back to getting started. And under Python setup, did you make a virtual environment?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you do the source blah, 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 blah?
Yes.
Okay. So go back to your terminal
Okay.
and type which space Python 3.3. No, all together. Good. All right.
It's expected some people are going to use 2.7 and some people are going to use 2.3.
Yep. Yep.
So,
I went through and did the whole tutorial in 2.7.
okay. But the instructions have or set up are explicitly 3.3, and then if it's 2.7, we're sort of there.
Yeah, they just need to get virtual env on their own. Okay, so you're in good shape.
Okay.
And did you do the next back in here? Do next. Did you easy install Pyramid?
I believe I did.
All right, good. So on next, you should be able to start with, okay, this explains how we do it, and I'm going to talk about this in a second. So hit next. So this is step one, and basically what you're going to do on each one of these is make a directory, go into it, and put a bunch of crap in there.
Okay. That's what I started to do.
Yep. Anybody else need help? Yes, good. You still timing out?
Well, this time I didn't time out.
Good.
I think you should call the management.
That's right.
If
The
you want,
tubes
you
are
could just send me-
clogged.
Yeah, this is maybe not an expensive conference, but they should be able to handle a crowd this size.
Yeah, I agree.
Tutorial morning. I mean,
Yeah.
what we've got.
I guess this all
15%.
runs through the hotel, and they're having some other conference, but I don't think that one starts today, so this shouldn't be a big deal.
It shouldn't be anywhere near this kind of deal. That's for sure.
Yeah. Of course, we can blame the cheese shop, you know.
I doubt it.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean seriously. I'm seeing ping times of 1.6
Okay.
seconds to Google.
All right then. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
I've got Python 3.3 installed.
Good.
I've got distributed installed.
Good.
I installed Pyramid. This is my virtual ENV, and then I had a few projects I had.
Right, right.
I just want to make sure I'm set up to.
Did you do, can you go back to the web page for this Python setup?
Oh, okay, I just have it on the PDF.
Okay, that's it. So did you do the source, let me pull it up over here. Hey Mitch, did you do this? You guys pyramidders? Yep. Cool, come on over and check in. All right, let's see, name?
Matt Camilli.
Cool.
John Young.
All right.
Very bottom. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. David Garber. Did you say see you shorty? No. Okay. Let's see.
I don't want to see you short. John Baker.
All right. Cool. And okay. All right. Here you go, guys. Handout. And did any of you get installed beforehand?
I've used Pyramid a little bit. So yeah.
Are you trying Pyramid 3.3 or not? Or Python 3.3?
No.
Because if you want to be brave, we're looking to double the number of Python 3 users.
Really? I was getting that feeling.
So, okay, great. All of you, look up here real quick. This URL on this part of the handout at the bottom is to that stuff, and there's a Python setup and a Pyramid setup page on there. We're on the Python setup part now.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, thank you. Are you all set up good?
I'm just downloading Python.
Okay, good. And the network is excruciatingly slow, so.
Yeah. Most conferences are like
Yeah, yeah. Anybody else need help? All right. Cool. Thank you. Steve, can you help Mitch? So do all of you guys have Pyramid installed already, or none of you? Okay. All right. Cool. Do you want to try Python 3.3, or do you? All right. Why not? Not OS 10, obviously. These instructions up here talk a little bit about the different ways to get your Python 3.3. If you do homebrew, it's a little complicated because you have to go install a virtual env yourself because they screwed up the PyVNV that ships with Python 3.3. So yeah, maybe install the binary for Python 3.3 for OS 10. Okay, that might be the fastest route.
I was probably going to use my VM.
Okay. Oh, good, 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 good. Okay. Now, do you? Okay. Let me change gears. Do you guys know what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so far.
This is Python 3.
Yeah.
We're talking about. No one can say yes
really,
to that.
Well, Ubuntu doesn't do Python 3.3. The current Ubuntu package is 3.2, which I discovered by doing it wrong.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
Yeah, and I just got a bad MD5 hash for that file.
Why wouldn't you?
For Pyramid that finally downloaded.
Why wouldn't
So
you?
you're right. Now it's the cheese shop.
So just as a reminder, this page that has all the instructions, this tutorial is all in Sphinx on Read the Docs. I don't want you to cut and paste, but if you have to cut and paste, you can. But there's a URL, pyramid under tutorials, readthedocs.org. Did you get set up? You're still? Yeah. Golly. Maybe we should put the call out again if anybody has a mobile phone that's a Wi-Fi hotspot that wants to donate to the cause.
Hey, you know, while they're downloading, maybe we could just all walk down to the front desk or something.
What's that? Do you? You willing to publish it?
Sure.
Let me bring something up and type it up.
Android hotspot.
Okay. Android. Okay, what's the name?
It's just Android hotspot.
All together with an underscore.
Capital A, capital A.
And any password? No. Okay, if anybody wants to try a faster network, look for that Android hotspot network name on your Wi-Fi. No.
This is my first PyCon.
Yeah. Chris was in here before anybody else, and it was slow for him. You were talking about Sean? I saw him this morning.
Yeah, he said he's not doing the Wi-Fi this year.
Brilliant. Smart man.
Well, I mean, he is a smart man, but he said they did a really good job last year, so he didn't think they needed him. And now he came back and they sort of different people and stuff. So.
It's like a Bruce Willis movie. Bringing him back. Jacob, did you want to try that?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying.
Okay. Is it working?
No, I don't know.
Timed out.
Sure. There is a wire. I'm not sure that will help us.
Do you know how to set up an ad hoc network on your Mac? I have an Ethernet cable.
I saw the. Oh, here's the. Yeah. All right, let me get you checked in. Hi, I'm Paul.
I'm good.
Hey, nice to meet you. Okay, good. Good. Did you have a chance to do any installation before the start?
Yes.
Okay, good. So do you have Pyramid installed? Or Python installed?
No.
Okay.
No, not yet.
So we are currently going to, if you look at this slide, at this URL, when you get seated, go to that website and go to the Python install, Python setup.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. You have a hotspot as well?
I do, yep.
Okay.
EOLOS.
Oh, yes, that one. All right. Wired is not a help. That? This is another network name if you want to try that as well. Paul W. Everitt, I think.
If anyone is at the place where they already have a virtual M and Python installed, can you raise your hand already?
Raise your hand if you already have virtual env, Python, etc. And Pyramid. Yeah. Good.
So the rest of you are waiting for downloads, or does anyone need help?
Yes. Is it? Yeah. Were either one of these networks working for you? Did you try switching to either one of those?
Not yet. Try, but right now it looks like
I'm not sure if it's I'm having trouble with the easy install. If it's something that has to do with my machine, or it's just the internet that's. It's like the 7th, 8th time I've tried this.
And are you still on the PyCon network or on one of those?
I switched to the Android hotspot.
Okay.
And I didn't get any ping. And I haven't tried this other.
Okay.
So I found the convention center's Twitter handle and tweeted at them too, and then I forwarded you a link to that tweet. If you wanted to pull it up so that other people might do the same, I think that we might be able to get their attention.
All right. Is anyone having luck with either of those networks? Okay. Chris, here are the Hey, Chris, are you sure you've got your network up? No. Here, I'll hand it to you. Do I unplug it or not? I appear to be having luck with the second network. POLLOS. Chris's data plan notwithstanding. Did you try switching to that other network?
Mm,
POLLOS.
okay.
It wouldn't let me connect. The Android hotspot's not letting me connect.
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and do the first step in a couple of minutes. It's a very easy step, so if the rest of you need a little more time, you'll be able to catch up very quickly. Any luck? All right.
System Python.
Yeah.
It's not my computer. Someone else's computer.
Yeah. Rock solid, isn't it?
Well, it's just so complex that there's so many connection points.
Yeah.
So I came down a half hour early so that I could do some of this stuff, and it didn't work. And now we're a half an hour in.
Yeah.
And now I can't reconnect to PyCon either because it's too busy.
Okay, now
So-
that's unacceptable.
Right, it's all kind of unacceptable. I'm going to go find somebody because
All right.
the company paid for us to be here.
Hell yeah.
I'm back.
Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and begin. I'll try and drag the first part out a little bit to let everyone catch up as we can. This tutorial is a hands-on tutorial where you actually write an application with code provided. It's all in readthedocs.org, meaning it's all in Sphinx. And the approach of the tutorial is we take a step, focus on one particular thing, and then the next step we copy all of that into a new directory and do the next step. We just started on the Python setup, which was just like butter. This was a tutorial where I tried to do Python 3.3. 3 weeks ago, I hadn't done much Python 3. So this has been a learning experience for me, and you can also do the tutorial under 2.7. The way to get started on a web development project for most Python applications is you get a Python, you make what's called a virtual environment. And a virtual environment isolates you from all the sins of the past, all the things you've installed in previous projects, and lets you know what you're doing really works for just the thing that you're doing. So we made a virtual environment. We use this crazy new thing in Python 3.3 called pyvemb. Python 3.3 includes directly in Python a virtual environment implementation. That was news to me. Didn't know about that. We then activate that environment so that it is first in our path. Unlike some other virtual environment implementations, Python 3.3 does not copy into your virtual environment any way to get new software, which is a little frustrating. So then the next thing we have to do in that virtual environment is go get distribute and install it, thus giving us the easy install command. Some of you might be pip people. I believe most of this would work under pip as well. Once we have our Python set up, and once you have a bold leap into the 80s and can get on the internet, then it's all clear sailing. One command called easy install to install Pyramid, which goes and gets a number of other packages. You don't have to do this until later to get the packages that we will need for further steps in the tutorial. But the basic idea is you get a Python, you make a virtual environment, and you install software into it. So let's all wave a magic wand and pretend that we actually have working software. I believe half of you do. The approach of the tutorial is, like I said, to introduce one topic at a time. He's smart. That's Chris McDonough, the creator of Pyramid, the other Pyramid shirt. I'm not. I make the coffee. So I wrote a tutorial for you that is the tutorial I would want to receive. So I introduce things in bite-sized chunks, try and focus on that one thing, give you code that will work. You can cut and paste it, but I would prefer if you type it so that you learn it. And then at the end, we talk about it a little bit and go on to the next one. Thus, the approach basically is at the end of each step, you copy the last step over, and then you run this little command, which makes your new directory and the package in that directory your working environment. Take your time to read this if you'd like more background on it. We're going to build a wiki-like thing. It ain't exactly wiki, but it's close enough. I know it isn't. It doesn't have wiki words in it. But it is it's basic CRUD application for creating and adding and editing and listing pages. And then at the end of this, you will have a directory tree which looks a little bit like this, with each one of the steps that we work on, and then some software in there, maybe a package with a tutorial directory under it, etc. All of this is, you're not as short as I am. If you can see this, all of this is in a GitHub repository. If you wanted to git pull and never have to type another thing in this tutorial, you could. But please don't. Let's have fun together. Because it's been fun so far, hasn't it? Let's go ahead and start with the very first tutorial. If you could, on your own computers, bring this page up. This is step one. And this is where we get into a little bit of marketing BS. There's been a rise on things called micro frameworks, which means whatever you want it to mean. In this step, we will show that Pyramid can serve for the very, very, very smallest of disposable quick applications where everything is in a single module and you get a Python WSGI, WSGI application going. This will be a get the pixels on the screens as fast as possible with as few concepts as possible. Go look and see a pretty picture in your browser, and then we will move along. What I will do is let you work through these steps. You make a directory, you CD into it, you put some code into a module, helloworld.py, and then we will come back and talk about this code, and then you run it, and then you visit it in your browser. So go ahead and start working on this. If you run into any hiccups, let me know and we'll walk around and help. You guys getting caught up yet? Yeah?
You got it, yeah.
What were you using? The PyCon network or?
No, at the end it was the second network.
Okay. Yep. Yep, you are going to make a directory 01 or step 01, and you're going to make a file in there called helloworld.py. Yep. Any luck?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Oh, very good.
Yep, we're good.
Did you get caught up on Python 3.3?
No. I
You
kinda gave
threw
up
in the
on it.
towel.
Yeah.
All right. You made the right decision. Maybe during the 20-minute break or
Maybe.
something.
Yeah, I'll try something.
Any luck? All right. All right. Got caught up yet?
Yep.
Still downloading the software? You're all set up.
I'm all set up.
All right, good. Do you have any luck getting to Python 3.3? Or you're going to do that later?
I'll probably wait.
That's the right decision. Mitch, you okay? All right, good. All right. What I do, you see this that I'm highlighting up there? Yeah. I make a directory for each step. I CD into that directory, and then I put all the files for that step in that directory. So it'll be step01/helloworld.py. I don't know either. You can make another step 01 or just leave out the step or something like that.
Okay. I'll delete that.
Now that might be your virtual env though.
Yeah.
So I would leave it, otherwise you'll have to start over.
Oh, okay. Well, how do you get in step 01?
I don't know. You might have thought you might have made the directory, CD to it, and thought that you had been up above it.
Okay.
So make, for this one, just call it 01. Put it at the same level as
okay.
step 01.
Okay.
Hey guys. We have had a tragic morning. We are currently using someone's phone as a hotspot. Hey, I'm Paul. Hey. Is anybody still using the PyCon network and it's gotten better?
Yeah, it's fine from here. I'm getting
Ping,
3 milliseconds.
they were getting 1.5 second ping time to Google.
If anyone wants to switch back and
Yeah,
see if they're getting big problems, I can try and diagnose further.
of course, just when Dad shows up, it all starts working.
Back on.
By the way, on most of these, at the bottom, there are extra credit things. See if you can come up with the answer, and you win a prize. Just kidding. You'll win a prize. There's no prize. See, every time you start a Python project, Chris McDonough will fly to your house.
Oh, that's great.
No, we'll mail you a computer. It'll be cheaper. So if you can try to get caught up on this step 01, just cut and paste. It'll speed up. Is anybody still working on step 1? Need any time? Chris, can you give some help back here? That way? Now, bring this up on your browser so that you can cut and paste it if you need to. No, seriously, go to... Okay, all right. Too many things at once. Yeah. You in good shape?
I think so. I just downloaded the package. Basically.
Oh, okay.
And now
You guys all caught up? All right. Doing all right?
Yeah,
All right. All right, cool. All right.
Program's taking a long time to run.
No, what happens is it runs and sits there. It never exits because it's a web server that's listening for web requests.
Oh, okay.
So when you go to it in your browser,
Yeah, I did that.
yep,
It just said hello.
yep.
Okay.
Now, if you Control C to stop that and then go in the web browser, it won't answer
Okay.
because it's this. We will talk about this in a second. Serve forever
Ah,
serves forever.
gotcha. Okay.
Yes. Unless you're in the Congressional Budget Office. That's two forevers, Chris. We will get to the extra credit, yeah. Okay, Chris, that's all cool over there? All right. So let's talk about this a little bit. We made a single Python module, a single file, helloworld.py, and then we ran it with Python. Everything that it needed was in this one file. And we told it to use built-in software to run a server forever and listen for web requests on port 6547. What did this do? It had a main function that told Pyramid, okay, I've got a view called hello world at this URL / and this is the view that we named. And it's just going to give back the word hello. Not a lot of action, but the point is to show that in a very few lines of code, under 20 lines of code, we have a functional web server. Okay, on to some extra credit. Anyone want to take a guess at why we do a very abnormal print statement? Instead of a normal put it in strings, we put it in parens? No. Anyone not named Steve? Anybody else? Yes. Ding! You know why I knew this? Because I did it the other way and it failed. This is... Yeah. Yes, this space allows it to work under Python 2. What you would see in the Python 3 docs is no space because it's a function. For whatever, did they introduce the space just to make it work in Python 2? Yeah, this executes and returns a string. Yeah. Did anyone try returning something in the response beside a string? What happened? That's true. Yep. And then what happened?
I put emphasis tags around it and supplied it to my browser.
Did it render them as italics or did it? So that means that Pyramid sniffed at the string and decided that its content type was text HTML? The browser just decided to do that. Ah, okay. All right. Oh, that's right, because in my response, I didn't set a content. Yep. Okay. And then this was also mentioned that you have to restart in order to get it, but if you put something that breaks the Pyramid application you wrote and you go to a web request, you'll just get, sorry, an error occurred, but in the console where you were running that command, you'll see the traceback telling you what happened. If you would like to see that in the web browser and see a nicely formatted error message, there are things that you can add to Pyramid for that. Okay, any questions before we continue? This is the uninteresting beginning to the Pyramid tutorial. Yes? Ding, ding, ding. We will show that. All right. It's like in step 4 or 5 or something like that. All right, any other questions? Raise your hand if you're doing Python 3.3. Raise your hand if that was the very first Python 3 application you wrote. What are the rest of you people doing? I mean, seriously. All right, cool. Was for me too.
Does anyone use any installation help?
Raise your hand if you are not installed yet. Okay. Back here as well? Do you need help? Okay, thanks. Thank you, by the way, for taking a bullet for the team and going and getting help.
I'm getting like all network unavailable errors now. Like every kind of thing.
So basically, Noah has to stand in this room?
I think that the whole Python network is running through his Android.
Okay. Okay, let's go on to the next one. If you could, in your browser, go to step 2. And what we're going to do in this step, we just had a single file tutorial, which is skips all of the, Luciana, all right, which skips all of the technology of Python to make things as simple as possible. Let's go back to what Python wants us to do, which is make what's called distributions or packages for things. With the setup.py that we've sprinkled some magic pixie dust that you don't understand, you just copy and paste it from something else, and build our application that way. So this step, you're going to make a new directory called step02, cd into that step, create a file called setup.py inside step.2, and then inside step.2, you're going to execute these commands and then do the rest of the work. See you, man. Did you do any of the pre-installation blah, blah, blah? No. Okay, good. The network is incredibly slow. So, Luciana, there is all of this tutorial is in pyramidtutorialsreadthedocs.org, getting started.
Okay.
And that will let you zoom into the future and get caught up.
All right. Thanks.
Are you going to try and do Python 3.3 or you want to do 2.7? We're all doing 3.3. But if you don't have 3.3 on your machine yet, might be a bad idea. 3.3. 3.3. Yeah. We're going to be taking a break at 10:50, so you can use that time to get caught up. I was in Buffalo. Under extra credit, I don't really know the answer to one, which is why Chris is in here. But if any of you smart people can figure out these extra credits, then I'm impressed. $10.50. That was our reminder to be alarmed. If you run into anything that's got you stuck, raise your hand and we'll come and help you.
What exactly is the next step?
Oh, okay. This is still on installation?
No.
Okay. Show me what you, well, actually, Chris, can you go back to the command you ran that produced that problem?
No, this is 2.7. Is not.
Yeah. Yeah. First, is that the correct Python?
It's the one I'm using now.
Did you do the source activate?
No.
So you might want to do that because it will try and install things into the global packages.
Okay.
Can you confirm that I got that right? We'll have that on your tombstone, Chris. If everyone could look up real quick, this is kind of important. Whatever virtual env you used, Python 3.3, 2.7, whatever, try to make sure you run that command so that the Python, the easy install, and everything else you use is in that isolated virtual environment. Otherwise, it will spew stuff into your system Python, and you'll have to reinstall your system to recover. Yeah.
So, I think I've done everything. I created this
Good.
app and so on, and then I made a tutorial.
Good, you're in step 2. That's good.
So here, but when I type that,
So inside tutorial,
so that's a dunder.
yeah. Make a new file called tutorial under init, and inside that file, put that line.
I did.
Okay.
So
So then make a new file in tutorial called wikiapp.py
So-
and enter that into it.
I made the tutorial.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Let's
At this
see.
point, I don't know what I've done.
What are you using for your editor? Sublime?
Sublime, yeah.
Okay, so go over here.
Yep.
And let's see. I don't know Sublime well enough. How do you open files?
You can come here and
Okay.
file open.
Okay. So go into tutorial. Okay, so in there, make a file under init under.py.
Okay. So then what I need to do here is file, new file, and then
In there, just enter that contents into that file
which one?
package.
Just package.
Mm-hmm.
So package.
It doesn't matter. You can put anything in there. It's
Yeah.
just a placeholder.
So package
Mhm.
and save it, right?
And save it as under init.
So save as.
In tutorial
Tutorial. And then it will
with
be
that file name. Under init.
Sorry.
Oh, Sublime.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got it highlighted up there,
Yeah.
but it,
If you don't highlight it, it will not let you
Yeah.
override it. So that init
mm-hmm.
dot py.
Perfect.
So save.
Yep. And then you're going to make another file in that same directory, wikiapp.py.
File. And what am I gonna put there? Oh,
You can cut and paste that if you want to.
okay.
You're welcome. Hi, how are you? Hey, I'm Paul. Hey, how are you? Okay, let's see. I've got the check-in list up front. I've got one more printout. Ron Cox. All right, good. Okay. Pick a seat anywhere you'd like. Did you get any of the instructions beforehand about what to install? Did the conference email you with the instructions?
Not that I remember, no.
Yeah, not a lot of people did. So unfortunately, the network has been really bad. If you go to pyramid_tutorials.readthedocs.org. You can leave off that part.
Okay.
You will get caught up with us. All the tutorial is available online. You can cut and paste if you want to, or you can type. But there is, at that, if you go to Getting Started, it'll tell you Python setup, pyramid setup. Do you already have a Python on your machine? 3.2. We're using 3.3. You can use 3.2 if you want to. You just need to install a virtual end.
Okay. All right.
And then we can come and get you caught up.
All right.
All right. Hi.
I'm not actually registered.
That's fine.
I'm just switching. Is that okay?
That's fine, because there's plenty of seating. So I am, though, out of printouts.
That's fine.
Okay.
I am actually here. Traffic was swallowed and I was
Okay.
delayed.
Is this you?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, thank you. Yeah.
3.2 will work.
Will work if you install virtual end.
Oh, okay.
That's a normal. Then do that. Okay. Then you're good.
Well, you know, we might have had a back plan.
You shouldn't, I mean, like, the convention center should have had a backup plan, not you guys.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Hey, no, it's great. And it looks
If
like
you-
it would have been fun, but I never got Pyramid installed, so all I can do is type code.
I'll be around if you want to come and have a private tutorial.
Oh, maybe. It's,
Seriously.
It's, I can, like, work through your, I'm pretty experienced with
Yeah.
this stuff, and I just had never really looked at Pyramid very close. I
Yeah.
thought it'd be cool and fun to do it and do it with my coworkers.
Yeah.
So, but no, I'll definitely look at it. It'd
All
be
right.
great.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, raise your hand if you finish this part. Okay, we will go ahead and continue then and let the rest of you get caught up. I'll explain it real quick. Yep, I sure will. Let's see. Let me get to that. This step is primarily about Python packages. And even that is the wrong thing to say. They're technically called distributions. They are also the thing that generates 5,000 flame wars a year in the world of Python, because this whole set of technology is pretty tough to digest. The idea here is you want to make an application for a wiki, a web application for a wiki. And the way to do that in an organized unit in the world of Python is something called a package, also known as a distribution. You organize your work in a certain way, and your directories, instead of just being directories, they are these things in Python called a package. A package is a directory with an under init .py in it. Doesn't matter what goes in it. If you do that, then Python will think it is importable. If you don't do that, and it's not on your Python path, you can't import it. Once you do that directory layout with a thing called tutorial, and under it your work, you can then import tutorial, or from tutorial import wiki app. And then those things work in packages and projects bigger than one file will work. So that's the first part of it. Now, just because I have a package on disk, even if I'm sitting in that directory, it isn't enough. You need to tell Python to kind of install it. And we want to install it in a way where we can keep using our working files in our working directory, and that's what this command is for. You point it at your setup module, which has all of the dead chickens in it, and then give it the command develop, which says, okay, install this package for use in this Python, but let me keep using the files on disk. Don't just copy it all over there into that Python's site packages. Question back here. That's a perfect question. One works and one doesn't. If you do install, it will take all of your files, copy them out of the directory over into your virtual environment's lib Python 3.3 site packages. And you will have to go over there to edit them every time you change them. Develop makes a file in your working directory that's a symbolic link over to your site packages. You will see this new directory in there, tutorial.egg-info or something like that. And that's a symbolic link to your site packages. Chris told me that this is the worst part of the tutorial, where you explain Python's wretched history regarding packages. Any other questions about, did I answer your question a little? Go ahead. Yeah, Django has chosen to sit out the Python standards on packaging, which is why everyone likes it. All right. Any other questions about the packaging part? Okay, then we made something that looks a little bit more like a normal pyramid app. It puts the views, your web views, into their own file called views. And we do this operation called scan to go and look for our view declarations in the files where the views are actually at. And then we run it. So, on to, first, any more questions about what we did in this? For the most part, this is a real grown-up pyramid app. It's done as a package, and you're scanning for view declarations. So why did we need to make a directory called tutorial inside step 2? Does anybody think they know, anyone not named Chris McDonough think they know the answer to that? This is the pyramid tutorial. Come on in if you want to. Pretty much right. That might actually be right. I don't know the answer to this. Chris gave me the explanation 6 or 7 times now. It's this whole distribution versus package thing.
So can anyone explain the difference between a module and a package? Do you know what the difference between a module and a package is?
Yes.
Right. But when you make a module called food, you make a package called food, they behave the same, right? So you can say import foo, whether the foo is a single file named food.py, or whether foo is a directory with an init py in it. You can treat them the same in Python. So that inner tutorial directory inside of the distribution tutorial directory is a package, and inside of it, it has modules in it with the single files and other sub-packages inside of it. So that's where the Python code lives. The stuff outside of it in the top level directory is all sort of packaging error and things that are not Python, or they belong to the packaging. So that's why there's 2 tutorial directories.
Okay, I'll skip question number 2 so we can speed up a little bit and go to extra credit question number 3. Does anyone think they know the answer to this? Is there a difference between config.addView versus at view config? That's a reasonable, but do they have any difference in result? That is correct. That's correct too. They both wind up, so this and this wind up doing the same kind of thing. They are both telling the configurator, I've got a view. They're just different spellings of that. Why? Because not everybody in the world has chosen one way that they want to do things. Some people want to do things explicitly, and some people want to do things conveniently with decorators. Yes, Mr. McDonough, do you have a question? Chris? Okay. Okay. Yep. So in this, the stuff you put in the parenthesis is a little bit different because it's not in the context of the view that it's wrapping as a decorator and all that other stuff. But under the hood, it winds up generating very similar configuration directives. Okay, we're going to take a step back and do the marketing hype. But we're going to go through this very quickly since we lost time in the beginning. About us, I am an extremely old person. So Some of you, like Luciano, know that. I did my, I don't know if this is something to be proud of, but I did my first website 20 years ago. In 1993, I did www.navy.mil. Web development was significantly simpler then. Since then, I've been involved with some other fairly old technologies, Python, Zope, and Plone, and now working with Chris on Pyramid. Chris and Trace Seaver and I have a consulting company in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and Chris is the creator of Pyramid. If you view that as a good thing, say thank you to him later. And we do large web projects. Why would you care to do Pyramid? Well, you can't say no to a web project by a guy with a neck beard. And you can't say no when they're alien mummies and t-shirts. Come by the Pyramid booth. We're selling these year. They are hot items. My daughter does not think this is a good t-shirt. And reason number 3, as if those 2 reasons weren't good enough, it was, in fact, created inside a pyramid. The Luxor in Vegas, at night, they have a beam that shoots out of the pyramid. Only in Vegas, man. What is Pyramid? It's a web framework for Python 2 and Python 3. Its Python 3 support goes back to October of 2011.
Sure.
All right, sure. And if I can tell a little story since Chris isn't in the room. Chris asked the PSF for a grant to port essentially Pyramid to Python 3. And they said yes, and he released it the next day because he had already done it. Don't tell anybody in the PSF about that. It was born from a merger of something we were doing as the ex-Zope guys called BFG and the number 2 web framework at the time called Pylons. So Pyramid is the unholy marriage of those 2. And why another web framework? We have an experience on building things that have large application designs. So if you have something that starts small but wants to get big, this is a good framework for you. What are the goals? It started with an only pay. Actually, it started with a culture of documentation. Chris released the docs before he released the software. Wow, that's pretty cool. Don't see that every day. But it also has a philosophy: only pay for what you eat. It doesn't jam in a truckload of dependencies and software if you don't need it, based on our history doing that to other people. Has a very high emphasis on quality. If there isn't tests for it or there aren't docs for it, then it is broken, and a heavy emphasis on code execution speed as well. I will skip over some of this stuff. And then there's a lot more features if we have time at the end. Under the why should you give a crap about Pyramid, we will try and convince you that it contains some facilities, especially the security model and the configuration system, that are pretty unique and useful for building large-scale applications. If you are a fruit fly and you're going to die 24 hours from now, and it doesn't matter how well your web application is written, then this is not a fruit fly framework. If you intend to build something that will last and be shared with other people, Pyramid has some unique features for that. All right, and then at the end, that will be the URL to give feedback on. Let's see if we can get 1 or 2 more steps in before we take our much-needed break. So, step number 3 gets to be a little bit more interesting from a Pyramid perspective. We are going to make a configuration file, and we're going to wire Pyramid up using configuration and then run it with a command called pserv, which is Pyramid's server runner for configuration files. And then we're going to reorganize our code a little bit to make it more pyramidic, pyramonic, pyramoronic. So go through these steps again. This is the first one of many where you are going to copy the thing you did previously into a new directory as your starting point so you don't have to change as much stuff. But make sure after you copy it over to step 3 that you run this command to make that your new home base. Otherwise, it will actually think you're still in the other directory. A lot more write-up on the analysis. If you finish early, read through that and ask questions about what I claim to be true in there. And let's see. Oh, these extra credit ones are hostile territory. We can have a good food fight and argument about this philosophical stuff. Again, if you get stuck, raise your hand, and my lovely assistant will come and help you.
I did everything on step 2, but I got
This is a Python kind of error. So it tells you in views.py. So go open that file in Sublime.
That's it.
Yeah. So let's see. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's somewhere.
I think it's
You
about-
fixed that one. Okay, so
Yeah.
somewhere you are still running that
the
command.
software, Yeah.
So go find your consoles and see.
How do I do that?
Do you have any other terminals running?
Don't think so.
Here. So that's the only one.
I think there's something like
There might be some other application on here.
no.
Can you-
Is a zombie service that is still running in the background?
Maybe.
Do you need some water?
Well, I can make it to the break. If you can help Nelson. Anybody need any help? Sure.
Should those contents for edit.py replace the package file that was copied over? There's a commented out package.
Yes, it will replace that.
Okay.
That's a
I was
good
wondering
point.
if that
Yeah.
stays
yeah.
with the
The previous one was just a bogus placeholder. Now we're actually going to use it. I should have made that point. You want to change the port number? Oh, you found it? Okay. Okay. Everything all right?
Yeah, it's looking good so far.
All right. Everything cool? Everything all right?
Yeah,
All
great.
right, cool.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Everything all right?
So far so good.
Okay. All right, good. Oh, still downloading, huh? I'm sorry. There is another network, POLLOS. Maybe add network. Oh, that one.
Oh, yeah.
You might want to try that one. It's Chris's phone. If that takes too long, but it looks like that's making some progress.
I'm going to try that network here because I can't.
I'm sorry.
It keeps timed out. Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's frustrating.
And then this thing stopped working.
So
too.
POLLOS. That's the network name.
All right. Still not connected.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And that'll stop the job in the background. So when we get quite to that now, I'll show you.
Hey, Chris, can you read these real quick? You can stay there. Just read those real quick, and then during discussion, I might get you to get some of the philosophy, the configuration. You betcha. Done yet? Done yet? All right, we'll close this one up in about a minute. Luciano, had you gotten caught up? Oh, okay, good. Okay, if you're still working on it, keep typing while I blather. But I'll go through a little bit of this. The center point of this step is the .ini, the ini file, the configuration file, and a command called pserve, which executes it. This ini file lets us take some of our decisions out of code, decisions that should be replaceable by users of that code, and put them into a non-Python file for configuration. Forget all this logger stuff. That just wires up the interpretable Python standard logger. We'll just look at these first two sections. This server section says, here is the Wiki WSGI server that I want to use. I'm going to use the one in the standard library called WSGRef. Chris also wrote one called Waitress, which is much higher performance. And there are other ones like Cherry Pie, etc. you can use, or Mod Whisky. And then we do some settings for the server. The important part is here, this WSGI application is located in the egg called tutorial. Omelets and cooking material. What we then do is move the code for our actual application into the init to get it started. And it looks like this. Therefore, our tutorial egg looks for a function called main in the package. And then we run it, and it all pops up. A lot of discussion on this, but this is Pyramid using some moderately popular packages out in the world of Python, WebOb and Paste and stuff like that, and showing its philosophy that we'll talk about in a second on configuration. Okay, on to the first question. We're writing an application. We might want to give this application to other people who use it. Is it possible to write your application without a .ini file? That's a question. Anyone want to take a guess? Can I skip this ini file and just write my Pyramid application without a configuration file? You're shaking your head yes. Anybody else agree? Yes, Nelson had it right. You don't have to drink this configuration Kool-Aid. If you come from some other packages, I guess Django, for example, does its configuration in Python as code, and there's a strong belief that that's the right way of doing things. We know that we can do a Pyramid application without the ini file. We just did it in step 2 and step 1. We can talk directly to the configurator and wire it up. But if you do believe that configuration should not be in code, then you can do it this way. Let's see, next one. Can I have more than one .ini file? This ini file was called development.ini. Would I ever want to have more than one ini file? Back here. For example, what? Yeah, ding. You'll see that a lot. A lot of Pyramid developers have a development.ini and a deployment.ini. They might have a staging.ini, all reflecting different policies about, maybe in development I'm using SQLite and in production I'm using Postgres. So rather than change my code and make my code have to figure out what mode it's in, I move decisions like that to configuration. All right, so we answered the third one. Let's go on to the next. Oh, yes, question.
Can you talk a little bit about what routes are used for, what the philosophy is behind the routing?
Sure. No, it's not premature. This is the time to talk about it. We need a way to take a URL that's coming in, / blah blah, and connect it to code, which will execute and return a response.
Why not do that directly without specifying the route?
There are different ways in Pyramid to do this. Chris knows more about routing. I know more about the other approach.
I think the question is, other web frameworks don't have this. They say here's the pattern and here's an URL. Yes, right. So they put the pattern inside of what we have in the config vector instead of having a.
For example, here.
Yeah. And the reason that we don't do that is because the ordering and routing matters. The ordering between routes and applications is important. And if you find routes in one order, you might end up calling a view where you would call some other view if you find them in a different order. So that they need an order. And the way those other frameworks handle it, class handles it by saying, okay, different kinds of routes have different weights. And it's track of what order is automatic. You have to understand its weighting algorithm, which I don't think anyone can. We chose just to say, look, these things have an order, we find this order, and then we'll hook them up by name.
It is an explicit is better than implicit kind of thing. But it is more cumbersome to do it that way. But it's more predictable. Okay, thank you. I was not going to answer it that way. I would have gotten it wrong. No extra credit for Paulie. Okay, let's go on to the next one. This one is going to be wafer thin. We'll go through very quickly. We've been doing a lot of typing. Pyramid, like Django and some other systems, has something called scaffolds, which let you run a command, and then it spews all of your files for you as a starting point. So go through this one, see what the scaffolds are about. We're not using scaffolds in this tutorial because we want you to learn about the decisions being made. This is not one where you have to do the Python setup, develop at the beginning. You'll do it later after the scaffold's generated. And you also don't have to copy the previous one over because we're going to use a completely new starting point. We're having the same problem.
Yeah, 512, but that's high price you paid.
Yeah.
512.
Yeah.
You want more?
No, we're slowly getting caught up.
Oh, okay, because
we also have a phone that's a hotspot, and we're using that.
Okay, it's 512, so you know, it's what it is.
Yeah.
It's what they paid for.
Yeah.
If you want more, you'll have to talk to the event manager, and then they'll have to. If you want a meg, you'll have to.
I'm sure they'd be happier blaming you.
But that's
I know.
That's what we said.
We'll let people know.
Okay,
we'll let people know.
Yeah, and this was understood to be used for that. So
yeah.
I don't know why they said 512 was going to be fine because obviously you're having issues.
Yeah. All right, we'll pass that along.
All right.
It's not that.
What is that?
Maybe there's a different meaning of 512. I mean, it's like 3 ISDN, 4 ISDNs. No, sorry for the convenience. Yeah, those pyramid guys are so snarky. Hey, raise your hand if you wrap this one up. Is everyone finished? Oh, wow. Okay. Forget it. Forget it. We will continue. That's hilarious. You know, you try to write a good tutorial, and they always get you at the drive-thru. Okay. This is a scaffold. You run it. It generates some software. You run setup.py develop to start using it. You saw that there are several scaffolds. There's one for SQL Alchemy. Once you generate this distribution package thing, that's the answer to question number 1. It doesn't matter how you got your code generated. If you typed it all yourself or ran a scaffold, it becomes a unit of distribution that you can share with others. Now, can you make your own scaffold so that when you run that command to list the available scaffolds, you see yours? Can you do that in Pyramid? The answer is yes, you can. In fact, if you are a Jinja 2 user, if you like Django-style templates, if you easy install Pyramid under Jinja 2 so that you can use Jinja 2, you will then see a scaffold that will make a sample project for you using Jinja 2. It's cool. It's got like internationalization and all that in it. Not only can you download Pyramid add-ons that give you new scaffolds, you can make a package, put it on the cheese shop, and people can download it at tutorials at 512 bytes a minute. I did that on purpose. I can't stand that name. You can make new Pyramid add-ons and share your scaffolds with other people. Maybe you have an internal project at a Fortune 500 and you want to make it easy to splat a new website. Make a scaffold. You can ask people questions. They can fill in the blanks and have a generated piece of software. All right. Django guys. How often do you use the scaffolds? Do you still use them all the time, or do you never use them anymore? You have your own. All right. Yep. How productive is it for you to make scaffolds for your downstream people? Is that a really useful way to do it? Yeah.
It's really only helpful at the start of a project. If you're doing a lot of different projects, it helps the initial startup time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's a nice to have.
Yeah. I've heard the same thing about you could just solve it with version control.
Exactly.
But if the person has no idea what they're doing, if they're a total newbie, asking them some questions is a useful facility. Okay, onward. We said that Pyramid has a culture of testing, but we've made it all the way to 10:30 without writing a test. Oh, there are kittens dying all over the world. Let's write some tests for this and get some test coverage and see what the culture of testing is like in Pyramid. Thank you. I think we can plow through a good bit more before we get to that. We might take our break a little bit earlier. Try and read some of the blather on this as well so you'll understand some of the philosophy, unit testing versus functional testing. And if you run into any roadblocks, raise your hand. Hey, Jacob. Yep.
Then again, I'm not sure if this is a connection problem.
No, I get that one all the time, and I never can remember the reason why I got it. I think it's because it didn't actually complete something it was attempting to download, and it gives an incomprehensible error. So skip this one because it was a scaffold, and get back on this one because that one will not download any new.
Okay.
Ooh, I might be wrong. You need to do an easy install of this if you haven't already. Luciana, caught up yet? All right. How about you?
Poyos came through.
All right.
Okay.
Chris's T-Mobile data cap is loving it. T-Mobile's going to send him a cease and desist. I'll pay you to go to AT&T. All right, so we got to get you caught up, huh?
Yeah, we'll team up.
Okay, all right. Okay. And we're taking the break after this one too. So. All right. Which one are you looking for?
Just looking around.
You can come in and sit down with us if you want to. Yeah. We're doing a pyramid tutorial. It's a Python 3 pyramid.
I know the pyramid before that.
Oh yeah, all right, good. We're joking that we're doubling the number of Python 3 users today. Huh? Oh yeah? Just a second. I don't know if you can read the URL up there, Pyramid Tutorials, readthedocs.org.
Yeah.
The entire tutorial is in GitHub, so you can pull everything.
Okay.
You can cut and paste, whatever, so that you can teleport yourself into the future.
Is there a reason why you're choosing to use easy install all the time instead of pip?
Because it would have been one extra command under Python 3.
It's Python 3, yeah,
in Python
yeah,
3,
yeah.
you install pip using easy install.
Yeah, okay.
And so I thought, okay, well, screw that. I'll just use easy install. I got lucky because the pip people updated pip 5 days ago and added mandatory SSL. And on not Mountain Lion, but Lion, it fails.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know.
Yes? Did you have something?
No.
Oh, someone raised their hand. Okay. Everything working all right? All right. Good? All right.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Doing all right?
Yeah, I think we're
Hey, you ran your test. Man, awesome.
Easy install SQL Alchemy.
I'm listening.
You got easy?
I did it under 2.7 and 3.3.
I'll figure it out.
That's just great news. Maybe we'll end early.
Well,
You,
to be honest-
go ahead,
Good.
sorry.
I was going to say, to be honest with you, we might run out of time in the meantime.
Yeah.
There's no purpose in plowing through it.
Yeah, that brings up a good point. Now I'm going to say you could do a discourse on unit versus integration versus functional testing, but we need to speed up. I was coming over to ask you to do that at the end of this, but we need to speed up.
We probably don't. Okay. It's up to you, but I think leaving some steps undone. Okay, pip install actually works.
Okay. Okay, I see a lot of not typing, so I guess everyone's wrapped up. Let's talk about this real quick. This is a module called test.py, and it contains two kinds of tests in it, unit tests and functional tests. These are the unit tests. These are the functional tests. I'm using a test runner called nose to make my test running more convenient, and I'm using a functional testing application called web test to make my functional tests more convenient. What is a unit test? What is a functional test? What is its strange half-brother called integration tests? These questions and more will be answered by Chris McDonough.
Well, so just out of curiosity, how many people here, how many people here typically write tests that are, how many people have written tests?
Hey, hey, hey! Oh, wait.
So typically, if you're coming from just about any other web framework, including Django or something that uses like SQL Alchemy, anything that uses SQL Alchemy, probably you're writing functional tests because those frameworks typically say, okay, I want to be able to test the interaction of my code with the framework. And in that style, it's sort of like that web test thing, that web test example above where you call a URL, you assert that the response is what you expected, and those tests are good and necessary. But there's another style of testing which is more sort of traditional unit testing. And I call it unit testing because it's a unit of code testing. And if you're not testing the interaction of your code with the framework, you're just testing your code. So typically in unit testing, a lot of times you'll either mock some stuff up or you'll call a function that actually knows very little about sort of web frameworky stuff or whatever. It's just sort of a function or a method or whatever that doesn't deal in much web state. So the difference between functional testing and unit testing is that unit testing typically is more low level and tests the implementation of things in a more mechanical way. You can get better test coverage by using unit testing. You can be more sure that your web application works the way you expect. You sort of get more bang initially for your buck out of functional testing because it's it's the way people use your application and test it end to end.
Awesome. Okay, we'll do one of these extra credits. Number 2. Does anyone want to take a guess at number 2? Did it fire up an HTTP server? We have a no. Do we have any yeses? Good, because no is the correct answer. That's why the tests run very fast, because web test intercepts the WSGI application WSGI server boundary and pretends to be a WSGI server issuing stuff into your application. All right. Like file uploads, there may be some things in the interface between the server and the actual application where your decision to trade convenience for quality coverage screws you. Byte streams, partial chunk downloads, any of that weirdo stuff. It's obviously not doing JavaScript kind of testing or any of that Selenium style stuff. But it is really convenient because it will find something in your template or something in your this, that, or the other thing, your entire application. It will test in interaction with it. I prefer writing them because I suck at unit tests.
In a Django world, there's a Django test case that I think is the equivalent of it makes the equivalent of Django app.
So, yeah, what we use right now is in Django, it will throw up a test server based
Okay.
on any test data that you provide, and you have kind of like a client where you send it posts or send it gets, and you
Yeah.
test it.
This is very similar, except the server doesn't actually run, but it's
Okay.
acceptable.
Now, one of the things that becomes a little bit of an issue for some frameworks, I don't know if Django, but it takes so long to start up the entire MFer that you write one test that makes a whole bunch of assertions in it, so you don't have test isolation. One of the convenient things about this is it's so fast you can get back to a unit test style of I'm testing just this.
That's why I was curious about this, because we actually have that problem in which our test suite takes a while to spin up and run through everything.
Yeah. Chris, I don't think that there's a solution to that in the SQL Alchemy or Django world. You got to crank up the universe, right?
No, no. If you use a SQL database, you are going to be writing functional tests. If you use a SQL database and SQL Alchemy, you are going to be writing functional tests. And just like you do in Django, typically, I like to write, different people have different opinions about this. I like to write about like 80% unit tests and then the functional tests do the rest and fill in the gaps. Other people like, there seems to be two thoughts about it. One, the other thought is that there are people who write 80% functional tests and then sort of 20% unit tests, and they feel like that gives them the same amount of, good feeling that all of it works. So, but if you're writing an application in Pyramid to use SQL Alchemy, you're almost certainly going to be setting a real database with real data in it.
As an example of the safety net that unit tests give you, I mean, you understand this. Yesterday morning, I changed my mind about something in the tutorials, which is a ludicrous thing to do. And I had to go from step 11 back to step 6 to change my mind. And all I had to do was run the tests to know whether I had screwed something up. I didn't have to go clickety, 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 click. So in the tutorial about testing, I got the benefit of testing. Did you have something you wanted to ask?
Why do you do the import of test app inside the setup instead of
Part of the concept of isolation. Now, I may have that wrong because I cut and pasted that from something. Is that an import, Chris, that could be done at module scope, import of test app?
That's probably okay. Like, there's a whole religion around. We have a colleague, Tracy, who came up with this method of testing that says really you should minimize the things that you want to import.
Because one test might trash another import.
Well, it's mostly because it's mostly about the code that's under test. You typically don't want to import that because of the context. But things like web tests, it's probably fine to import it.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. Trace has some idea that it's not fine.
And he's not here, so it's fine. Luciano, last word. Yeah. That, in fact, is the next step. So thank you for that segue. Let's take a break. We are promised 20 minutes, so I'll give you 14. Try and get back in here at 11 because we have a lot more to cover. But I will stay in here so you can leave your computers in here. Then you have a large application that has one or more databases or something like that.
We've been throwing up just like reuse SQLite for testing. Just
Yeah.
The problem is now
You use some features that aren't in there.
Like batch. Django has this thing too, like I don't know, to write a whole bunch of data to a database in one command.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like it's like a batch, I don't know, import or something, or right?
Yeah.
And that totally doesn't work with SQLite. SQLite can take maybe like 500 most. And
Oh yeah.
Application trying to do 2,000. So
Yeah.
So just trying to figure out the best ways to go about testing sometime. At least we're doing it though.
There you go. What a lot of people do is they just throw Jenkins at it.
Yes, we have.
It doesn't matter how long it takes to
yes,
run.
We have Jenkins. I was against Jenkins. Not that
It's a
continuous integration bad.
not a placebo, but it's something else. It's a.
I don't like Jenkins. I like other like.
Oh,
I use TeamCity some.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I see the value in it. Sometimes not as much. Like gives the BA on our team.
Yeah.
Yeah, peace of heart. But that's about it. Because I run the test myself, so I don't need to.
That's the way it's supposed to be before you commit.
Exactly.
Or even get really Nazi and have a post-commit hook that rejects your commit.
Exactly. What we like, why they
This morning tutorial is a luxury for me. I always get stuck with the last afternoon slot on the last day. And people are hungover, and I'm in between them and beer. And I'm not saying that some of you aren't going to leave here and go have a beer. But this... I would if I had to come listen to myself. We are on step 6 out of 11, but unfortunately the last 2 are whoppers. So we will try and do a little bit of speeding up, but we will make sure we don't go faster than your ability to understand what we're doing. We'd rather leave some of the last 1 or 2 and make sure you understand. So please give me some feedback if you are done earlier, kind of make it obvious that you're done. But also, if you feel like that we're going too fast, raise your hand or something. Each one of these steps gradually gets you into a more normal way of doing web development, a more normal way of doing pyramid web development. This is a bigger step towards normalcy, like Luciano said. Writing views that return data instead of strings really benefits the rest of your application, including testing. So we're going to get into templating in Pyramid. Pyramid includes 2 template languages by default, something called Chameleon, something called Mako, but they make it very easy to install other templating systems, especially Jinja 2, as add-ons. So we're going to refactor our Wiki application to be template-oriented with views that are data-oriented, and then talk about it. On some of these, you might just want to cut and paste if you already understand it. You already know this. We started without you. Also, as a note, some of you are asking for the magic reload function so that you don't have to restart things on every change. This is where we get into that. You ever seen Jinja 2 before?
I've used it
Okay.
with Pyramid.
Does it feel familiar?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same as Django.
Is it exact same thing?
It's like 90%.
I just got off a project using it for the first time, and I actually liked it
Yeah.
because my IDE understood it.
Exactly.
I've grown addicted to PyCharm.
PyCharm. I started out on PyCharm and I liked it. It was an easy transition from Visual Studio and all that. I've actually went through my BIM stage, and now I've landed on Sublime Text. I really like Sublime Text.
Yeah, Chris gave Sublime Text a try, and then in order to get syntax highlighting for JavaScript, he wrote something that hooked it up to Emacs as an Emacs server.
See, now they have all like a whole plugin library for Sublime Text, so with JavaScript syntax. just throw
Is
in
it
there.
true that they switched to Python 3 as their plugin language? And so everything is broken?
Yeah, that's with the newest version now.
Yeah.
It's not fully supported yet. It's like in a beta. But yeah, they've tried to bring everything to Python 3. And
I
it's
will.
cool and yeah.
Yeah. I will say the choice of PyCharm meant a 4 gig upgrade on RAM. So.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. But no, PyCharm's really nice. Like, really, those guys at JetBrains can't get anything wrong. I like all their products.
PyCharm 2.7 came with a new thing called Darkula. I'm surprised at how much I like it.
Yeah.
I know it's just candy, but it tastes good.
Yeah. Actually, I think all my editors I use a dark theme now.
Yeah. All right. Still working on it?
Yeah.
All right. Finished or still working? All right. Okay, let's review what we did while some of you are still finishing, and then we'll talk about it. We use a templating language for this example. It's one of the bundled templating languages called Chameleon. And because of that, our view config decorator is getting this extra argument called a renderer. This renderer says, go look at this file as a target of the renderer. It looks at it, sees the .pt, says, oh, you must be Chameleon. I will use a Chameleon renderer. Versus Mako versus JSON. There's a renderer for JSON. We'll talk about that in a second. This is what our template looks like. The renderer passes variables into the template, such as title. It also passes some global variables, such as request. And now my test, my unit test, can look for data instead of a string, which is a really big win that Luciano was talking about. And we also did the reload so that changes in what Pyramid considers relevant stuff automatically reloads the server. The choice of templates as the name of the directory is not some magical directory name. We could have named it anything, or we could have not even used a directory and just shoved it in alongside the Python code. Okay, extra credit. Did anyone try this one? That is true, because it considers the ini file important, because you know what? It is important. So you make a change to that, it will restart your process for you. Chris, what are some other things that will automatically trigger? Python, what will trigger a reload if you do -- reload? You do not use that. So, all right. If I wanted to use Jinja 2, I would easy install Pyramid under Jinja 2. What if I wanted to write my own templating language or use an existing templating language that Pyramid doesn't have support for? Could I do that? The answer is yes. There is a facility for making what's called custom renderers and plugging them in and sharing them with other people who can use it. Now, probably Luciano, maybe some others know the answer to number 3. When I made my first request to this view, there was a little bit of a lag, and then any subsequent requests were pretty fast. What do you think was the reason for that? Close. Any other ideas? Caching. That's exactly right. It interprets the template the first time, and Chameleon converts the template into Python code and then uses the Python code after that. Other templating languages have, I think, similar ideas about their intermediate representation. And this last one, I answered it a little bit already, but I didn't really answer the should I. Is there a value to writing a custom renderer and doing something different than what Pyramid gives you out of the box? Can you think of any examples why you might, for your own business applications, have a custom renderer?
You want to have standard for your own business. You can
Yep.
actually set up whatever order and everything
Yep.
is set up by default.
There are definitely, yeah. Mitch?
We're actually doing that. We are in the process of doing a code rewrite at my company, and we're using Python 3.3 along with Pyramid. And we had a situation just like that where we needed to return partial HTML because we're going to be doing some cross-domain AJAX. And so we're baking into the framework or to the renderer the ability to return JSON, regular HTML, XML, and in one case partial HTML, which gets returned if somebody is doing a cross-domain AJAX call to us.
Perfect. Chris, can you think, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think another reason is if you're in a domain where there are objects in that domain, you might want to represent those. And
That's a good example.
You can recycle logic and all that kind of stuff without starting from the ground up.
Pyramid has gotten a little bit of a reputation as a framework for writing frameworks, so that if you inside your business are doing the same thing over and over and over and don't want to repeat it, you want to consolidate it and enforce it, it has little places for you to bake that common stuff in and share it over and over. And that's a perfect example of a custom renderer is a place to take some of that crap that happens all the time and lock it down in one place. Chris, have you seen examples of custom renderers that you think are like really business-specific custom renderers?
Some people have written like renderers that emit XML based on a dictionary they can return. But of course, there's no such thing as XML. XML doesn't have semantics. It's all up to the application that you put in return. So they'll come up with a little XML dialect and return. They'll return a dictionary, return some two-body object, return some MongoDB thing, and they'll turn that into XML for their consumers of their API.
Yeah. Has anybody else seen a pattern like this in other frameworks for having custom renderers? Ooh. All right, all right. We will actually see an example of that using a different facility inside Pyramid for giving you that capability instead of a custom renderer. Okay, on to the next one. Any questions on this one before we go on? This was templating, and this was changing our views to return data instead of strings. For most of you writing web applications, this is probably a pretty normal thing. Let's go on to 7, view classes, which in other frameworks are a source of lots of discussion about style and taste and stuff like this. This is a different way to do what we just did. So we will use this step as a way to also introduce more of our Wiki application. Go ahead and go through this, and then let's talk about it when you wrap up.
What I think I'm going to do, just for the sake of making it work, is I'm going to delete these assertions because I think it'll.
Oh, that's fine.
It'll work then.
Okay.
Is that?
Hell yeah.
Makes sense to you? And there's going to be some weirdness about that I do not understand. We're going to have to run pip then easy install, and I don't know, but we'll figure it out. I think that should make it pass. So I'm gonna push this, and you can pull it.
Can you just go ahead and, so I don't have to merge it or anything? Once you, if you push it to master, then read the docs will get it automatically.
That's what I'll do.
Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry, yeah. Can't see over everybody very well.
seen this lots of times.
Yep, we were just talking about that in the
Install,
hallway.
But what's to develop?
Okay, have you used Easy Install a lot? So Easy Install is a way to get software created by other people installed on your system.
Right.
Under the hood, Easy Install uses something called setup tools.
Okay.
This, the left side of that, Python setup.py, also uses setup tools. You can do that to install software just the same as Easy Install if you've already downloaded it.
Right.
But it does more than that. It's also the way to create stuff that is put up to be shared with other people. Setup tools lets you install software packaged by other people, but it also packages software to be installed by other people.
Oh, okay.
So both has of that.
Okay.
The way that you say what mode you're in with setup tools is this argument to that.
Yeah, I think all I've ever used is install.
Is install.
Yeah.
What install does is it takes the software that you're installing, copies it out of that directory over into the magic inside of Python under site packages.
Right.
If you're still in development mode, you don't want to do that.
Right.
You want to leave your software where it is because it's checked into GitHub and it's in your projects directory or whatever. You just want setup tools to put a symbolic link over there back to here. This is what develop does. It does the exact same thing as install, except it doesn't move your software.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This stuff is really confusing, and I just got to the edge of my understanding.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
In fact, when you run that, can you go back to your console and do an ls? Let's see, are you at step 5 anywhere?
No, I'm in step 2.
Okay. Run that command. Python. Okay, ls. And you see that?
Yeah.
That is it helps the symbolic link stuff.
Okay. Very cool.
All right? Raise your hand if you need any help on this one. Do you feel like giving the view class versus view function history?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind talking about that.
The why you should care about one versus the other? Or
yeah, sure. I can do that.
for me, I do it just because I'm OCD and it feels right. I don't know.
I think the reason is you want to share a bunch of statements.
You kind of talk in front of them.
What?
Sometimes it's just that he's not mic'd up.
Oh, okay.
So you can just give him the mic if it is.
Okay. If it's more than just a little bit? Yeah, okay. That's a good point, Sam.
Phenomenon. I changed my response to be a numeric number, like you suggested, and then I feel like corrupted the port. Like it can no longer read from this port, so I had to change the port. Do you know
Weird.
how to see that? Like in the console?
What are you using to run?
I'm using Eclipse and Python 2.7.
So you don't have it running anywhere outside of Eclipse?
No.
Okay. So go back to Eclipse. I used to understand Eclipse.
So I just didn't know, you don't have to talk about this, but I just didn't know if off the top of your head there was an easy way to look at what, like, do you want to see?
No, is there like stop all instead of just stop in Eclipse? That happens to me a lot where I've got two consoles open at once.
Yeah.
But it looks like you only have one, unless is there some other command that shows you other consoles?
I don't think so. I think I only have one open.
I usually would show one more tab.
Yeah.
One more console.
Yeah. So if you go here, it's fine. I changed it. Go here. It says, oh, it's working again. You magically fixed it, but it said server error.
Well, it shouldn't be running because you've replaced it with the other one. So.
But that's true. So it obviously clearly thinks it's running, and I didn't know if there's a way. I guess on my local box I could check.
Or shut down the Eclipse and start.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's an Eclipse issue.
Yeah. It got orphaned from the process or something.
Okay. All right. Well.
Hey, sure. Everything cool over here?
Yeah, it's looking good. Yeah, I'm just kind of reading through to figure out.
Oh, good. The why.
Yeah, the why behind it.
That's exactly it. I made it work, but and this will be crucial for us as we're about to start a project for the first time with Ginger.
Oh, good.
Sorry.
I was just about to add a step 12, which was going to be Ginger.
Okay.
So maybe I'll do that later.
It's about the same, right? It's just
Well, the Ginger, the Pyramid Ginger docs are really good. Yeah. Really good.
Yeah,
so.
actually Ginger 2 is very good. Now I know how to configure it to be.
Yeah, yeah. You good?
Yep.
All right. Good over here? All right. So we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Instead of a view function, we did a view class. And then we hung some methods off of the view class for each view that we'd like to have, which lets us share some things like I did here between things in the view class. Now, there are other ways to share. You don't have to use a class. For me, it's a style thing because I like nice, tidy little piles of related stuff. And I'm just kind of that way. So for me, this is more of a style thing. But Chris, with his long history in Zope, which is doing view classes since when? I mean, when did that? Yeah, 2003. That just became the normal way we did things. And there might be some technical reasons, and Chris will give a brief rundown of some of them.
Basically, it's just a collection of similar views to be hung off of a class just to sort of organize things. There is no super technical reason. The one benefit that you get out of this is that if you use a view class in your template, you can actually say view dot something.
We did that in this one.
And you can use the view as sort of a bag of names for state, view.layout or whatever. You can't do that with functions because functions don't, well, functions can have attributes, but you typically can't affect the attributes of functions inside the function.
All right, we also made a number of other views, you know, the list everything in the wiki and the add something and the edit something and the view something and the delete something. Yes, Chris? Sure. Is it okay doing it through the test? We had to change our unit test because we aren't just invoking a function for our view. We have to instantiate an instance of a class, make an instance of the wiki views. Then we have to choose which view we want and call it, which is what we did here. We grabbed the wiki views class, made an instance of it, inst, and then we got a response by calling one of the methods of that class, wiki view, which happens to be the view that I want to test in this test. Is that pointing out the thing you wanted to point out?
Other people have used other systems like Django has class-based views. This is slightly different in that you can actually hang a slew of views off a single class, and the constructor is passed the request instead of each function, or instead of you sort of writing a dispatch mechanism in the class itself, call different views based on what comes in. It's just like writing functions, except they just have your app level dispatch. They share stuff.
We will have in a subsequent one the dispatch thing that you're talking about. I didn't realize that. When I say the Django guys, I know that that's over here, but are other people Django here? A few? So is it correct? I confess I don't know. In Django, is it one class per view?
Yes and no. Now they have like class-based views
Is that considered the normal way to do it? No?
It's not, but often you just do a function for view.
Okay. Ah. Okay. All right. Oh. Okay. All right. Okay, let's see about some extra credit. This one has nothing to do with view classes, but those little hops in the URL that we added, let's see. Here, I parameterized my URL in the route. Let's say I want my URL to have multiple parameters in it. Is that possible with this routing system? So I see some heads shaking yes, and that is the correct answer. There are some other features to this routing system. Chris can talk a little bit about the routing.
One demonstration, take line 8. You're not in an edit, but if you took line 8 and moved it above line 7 there, you'll see that 44 ring matters. Because if the first URL, if the first route is trying to match the /UID, you'd never be able to execute add. It would interpret add as the UID. That's why it's there.
Precedence. Yes, back here. A lot of discussion about that in the Pyramid world. The Mozilla people are using Pyramid for REST APIs, and they created a package called Cornice, which makes a lot more featureful for doing that. We will see some more things in a second about RESTy API stuff. There's this whole other side of Pyramid called traversal, which is another way to do things. But do you want to talk about some of the patterns that come up under the banner of restiness in routes?
Yeah, you can actually have one route point to many views.
We're going to do that in the next one. Yep.
So you can say, for this route, if the request is a post request, go to this view column, or if it's a get request, go to this view column. If it's a, if it comes from some user agent, go to this one, sort of predicates about how to which view to call after that.
All right, so let's go on to the next one. Any other questions about this before we go on? These are good questions, by the way. This one is a fairly simple set of ideas. We want to serve up JavaScript, images, CSS, etc., aka static assets. But in Pyramid, because we want to let you do more ambitious things, we give some extra facilities and an abstraction that makes this convenient. So go through this one, and we will talk about the 4 extra credit things at the end. Oh, one quick one right here. What I want you to do is click on that link, download it, download that PNG file, and put it in that location, this tutorial logo PNG. I got to do my pull, right? I got it right here. Chris, is this it? Yeah. I don't think many of them are doing it from GitHub. They're just copying and pasting for this. But I'll do the reminder. Feel free to do a lot of cut and pasting from here on out. Did restarting Eclipse help? Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
You rebooted your 5 trillion lines of Java?
There's a terminal all.
Oh, okay.
It didn't show that, but it must have been behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
Eclipse
Yeah.
bug. Yeah, thanks.
I'm a PyCharm guy, not a PyDev. Well, no, I mean, it suffers from similar things, and I had to get a 4 gig RAM upgrade in order to run my IDE.
I tell people Eclipse is like asking your parents for a skateboard for Christmas and then them getting you a forklift.
Equally dangerous to a child.
Gets you around, but not quite to where you want it.
Oh, yes, sorry.
I'm actually a step behind, but I didn't do something right out like, getting a server.
Okay, we'll go to the place where you ran it, the console. Okay, so you forgot to add one of the files.
Oh.
It's missing a file there.
Add it. Okay.
Yep, add edit.
I misspelled it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Where does this go?
That goes in, I forgot to say it in the under init. I will point that out. I apologize, I didn't say what file step 2 needs to go in. It's in the under init under.py. This code goes in the under init. Why don't I go change that before I forget to do that? If anyone's curious, I'm running PyCharm as my editor, and I'm editing the source that is on read the docs, and I am, well, I'm going to pull the changes that Chris did, and then I'm going to commit, and then in about 4 minutes, if you reload, it will fix the problem that he just reported. Which is better than PowerPoint, baby. Doing all right? Doing okay? Doing okay?
Yeah, did you say there's something we have to download?
Yeah. It is this thing right here. Like right click on it and save, downloaded, blah, 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 whatever. All right?
Yep. All good.
Oh, excuse me.
You were talking about the init file. Was that from step 2?
Yes, it was. In fact, let me see if it's updated yet. Yep. If you reload, you'll see the change. Read the docs for the win. Best thing Python's done in a decade. Everything all right?
Yeah,
Everything cool?
I'm actually attending to some business in the
Oh.
It's the end of the business day.
Of course. Can never get away, can you? Everything all right? Did you?
Still working.
Okay. Do you need some help getting caught up? All right. If you want to teleport yourself into the future, you can get everything from GitHub, and it has all of the source code. Yeah. Are you okay? All right. Everything okay?
Can you tell me the GitHub link, please? Because I can
Sure.
get it.
Let's see. Tutorial approach. Go to the bottom.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So if I instantiate that as a class anywhere in my test, I can actually invoke any of those paths.
Yep.
Like if I'm doing it from the browser. Right.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
That's a lot of work.
Oh. Yes.
So
Yeah.
now I'm gonna start doing tests, right? Because I never did it. I only did the unit test.
In this tutorial, maybe for the first time ever, I actually did test-driven development, where I wrote my test before I wrote my code, and before I went to the browser, and then I sped up. I was going fast then.
Because those tests will typically be used for unit tests, right?
Right.
Not for web.
Yeah.
And this one.
Yeah.
That trick of instantiating Wiki views.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Everyone wrapped up over here?
Yeah.
You have a... Let's fix it. That was happening to me during development.
I have the same thing too.
You have the same thing too?
Yeah, it's copy pasted.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
Let's see. So let's... Our...
No, it's kind of a previous project.
Yeah, so my list comprehension must be returning a page that, or returning none or something. Do you know how to debug list comprehensions? You ever done list comprehensions before? All right, now my my tests were running.
Yeah, my test pads.
Okay. That would be bad news because it meant that refactor I did at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So on a single, which URL generated that?
It's any of the page views.
No. Oh, wait. So it's still giving that even though that's working?
Yeah. Sublime text. Yeah, I mean,
The modern day Vim.
this guy
What is it? What is the URL that is trying to get to that?
I tried it all. I like PyCharm a lot.
Well, this is where we would want to install some of the debugging tools. So let me get finished with this one. If it pops up on the next one, I'll get Chris over here and we'll see if we can figure out the URL that's generating that. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up on this one. This is mostly about publishing static assets. It has one part to it that's pretty cool, which is this thing right here. Am I highlighting? There we go. Instead of pointing at a specific, fully qualified directory location or a relative directory location like / whatever, there's this weird colon thing in there. What's that all about? Chris has experience writing ginormous websites and web applications. This thing called Zope was about as ambitious as anything open source has ever tried to do. Chris worked on the Boston Globe website, which was Zope. Chris was doing CBS New York, their website on 9/11. So we've got, and Luciano as well as part of our community, we've got experience writing these really large applications used by lots of people, plugging things in together, all frameworking and stuff like that. And we've learned a lot of patterns, and this is a reflection over the pattern, over the years about the pattern. You want to be able to install a package from someone else and not really know too much about the internals of where it got installed, what its internal structure is and stuff like that. So he created this thing called an asset specification, which lets you point at a path, which really starts with the name of a package, and then colon, and then stuff within that path, within that package. It's a little more sophisticated than that. I won't go too far into it, but it is one of the first glimpses of Pyramid lets you build more ambitious kinds of things. All right. Okay. Question number 1. Anyone want to take a stab at this? Can you serve a listing of files like Apache will give you? The answer on that one is no. You can point it to a directory, but if you go to that directory through your Pyramid application, it will give you a not found. It will not conveniently give you a list of links. On my static assets, I might be in development mode and I want things to reload every single request, but I'm in deployment. I want to serve it forever and ever. Does Add Static View give you that kind of control? Steve, do you have an answer to that? You got a 50-50 shot. It's a yes or a no. Answer is yes. Pyramid gives you a number of knobs you can tune on how to serve static assets. All right, let's go on to the next one. 35 more minutes. All right. This is going to be a fun one because this gets into a more web kind of application with forms and validation. Pyramid is not a mega framework like a Zope or a Plone or a Django. It lets you choose the things that you put into it. For example, what framework you want to use. You might have different tastes. Everybody has different tastes when it comes to form systems. It's very hard to please everybody with the same solution. Some people want complete automation. Some people want complete control. Very hard to do those two things in one system. So we've chosen one of the more popular form frameworks for Pyramid and other systems called Deform to do our form generation and our validation. This step will also show you how to do form controlling in your views. This one's going to take a little bit more time, so liberally cut and paste. And some of you might see some error in the console even though your web pages work, which they were showing me. That's got to be about that change I made yesterday that I thought I was safe because the test passed. There's some request getting generated that's failing. And it smells like the fave icon or some static asset or something that is calling my list comprehension for no good reason. Know of anybody that might look into that for me? It's getting the UID from the matchstick on some URL that's not got a UID in it, and so it's none, and then the list comprehension. But why is the favicon going through? Hmm. Fix it for later. It's the favicon. So I should. That's why the test passed, because I didn't have a test that went to favicon.iso. Yep. Yep. It's a link type. Mm-hmm. Let's see where you put it. Go back to your, do an ls, okay, ls tutorial, static. So it's in there. Did you remember to do Python setup PyDevelop?
After that?
No, go back up. One more. Okay, from, let's see. All right, ls. Good. So Python setup PyDevelop.
Python setup PyDevelop. Cool, right?
Yep. Now try running those tests. Dot. So in your under init, make sure that you, can you show me your under tutorial under init? Right, so it's missing the anesthetic view. Anesthetic view. Yeah, that's the right thing to, that's the right thing to do. Sure. Oh, yep, sorry. Can you walk around with me?
What was that issue with the favicon bug that you were talking about in models.py?
Yeah, we forgot that the browser issues another request called to get the favicon.
Yeah.
It's matching the route for wiki page view.
Okay.
But it doesn't have a UID in it.
Right.
And so it's triggering an error trying to find it. Sorry. Thanks. It's something that I need to fix in the tutorial source. My tests were passing because they weren't asking for a favicon.
Right. Did you talk about the reify decorator?
I'm going to do that right now. All right, we'll go ahead and talk about this one. Okay, let's see. So I had 2 points I needed to talk about, reify, and what was the other point? Okay, yes, very good. So we'll talk about yours first. What is up with this? This is something that Chris McDonough taught me, with the dot in front. I learned Python in early 1993, and I haven't learned anything since. They've added some things that I stumble across like, what? Huh? That is not your grandfather's Python. So this is a way of saying, Chris, do I make sure I get this right? A dot on the import says from where I'm currently seated, right? The current, yeah, of the thing that is importing it. And you can also use dot dot to go up one from the thing that is importing it. Does that answer that? Yeah, you could say from tutorial.models import blah blah. But you might change your mind later about tutorial.
Also, the problem could arise that we're using some sort of application that has a similar name, and being explicit about it, you can always create your program and kind of be dependent on
Right.
the project.
Right. That's right. Let's say that you easy installed models. So then you would have a name conflict there. All right, and there was also a question about this guy. So this is a use of view classes for wiki views to have a whole bunch of views that reuse some state, but also reuse some computed state. Chris has provided a decorator in Pyramid called reify, which acts like a property. So it lets you say self.wikiform, but it wraps the result of that so if you ask it a second time, it doesn't recompute it. So it's a performance win over at property. Does that answer the question? Oh, it's one of those Harvard words. It's
just reify means make real.
It's like those RDF people. They're their own worst enemies. Okay, let's go into some questions. Boy, we got to speed up. I'll skip over to the fun one. This is an example of Luciano was saying that view classes in Pyramid and view classes in other systems really should be called separate things. It's like that old saying about England and the U.S. They're two countries separated by a common language. So our use of view class might be a little bit different. This is what we were talking about on the question back here about REST patterns, I believe. If you look at this, maybe you can figure out what its intention is. I put some defaults on everything in the view. I said everything in the view is under the same route, the same URL. And it has the same template that's going to render it. Well, why would I ever want to do that, and how would this work? Maybe I have a form with multiple buttons on it. And each button goes through a different code path in order to process that form. I can say, well, here's a view that is only triggered if form.update is in the request data, meaning in the form data. And then I will do some work related to updating the form instead of changing it to draft status versus changing it to delete status. Pretty neat trick in Pyramid. I believe, Chris, you told me that Flask also has that same kind of view branching based on request data. Is that correct?
I don't think so. I think they have it on request methods, but I don't think they have it on.
Okay.
But we have like 15 of them.
Yeah, so you can also say, do this one if the request method is a get, but do this one if the same route is a post. But then Chris goes into our experience building space shuttles, where you can say, do this one if the parent in the URL is this. You can also register your own custom things to plug into here to say match based on any damn thing I want, which becomes pretty cool when you're building a REST system. And then you can go even further and make your own thing. Instead of view config, you can say, is that ampersand or et? What? Et, my own damn view config, which is code you wrote that wrapped Pyramid's view config and lets you put all kinds of stuff in there and have completely different behavior, which is a really useful pattern. That's right. The Mozilla.org's Cornice package gives you new decorators to write views that are more resty. Okay, onward. Let's do security. And again, speed through this if you can. We may drop off and just show the one about SQL Alchemy rather than do it in the interest of time. Yeah, sure. Goodwill is here. That too. Oh, yeah.
I made those.
Okay, so let's take a look. In your template, it's asking for UID in Wiki page view. So go to views.py. Yep, you were in the right place. /views.py. And Wiki page view passes in page and title, but not UID. So you can say UID equal UID if you want to in this return dict. So what this is the data that is available inside the template. And your template wanted UID. So say UID equal, and we defined UID there. Yep.
Yep.
So that should work the way you just wrote it. Now, if that didn't work in my original material, then there's something wrong with my material.
So like,
No, yeah, you don't have to do that again once you've done it. But all right, good. Hmm? A badge and a secret handshake. Yeah. If you do finish this one fast and want to go on to step 11, go right ahead. In fact, we'll go ahead and wrap this one up in about 3 minutes anyway. Even if you haven't finished, and we will walk through the SQL alchemy so that we can at least talk about it. All right, we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. My apologies for running a little over on time. Pyramid has a very interesting security system built into it. It's optional, but if you choose to use it, you can really tap into a security framework which is very flexible and very powerful, with a number of extensions that let you get security authentication information from different sources, LDAP or Twitter or whatever. In a nutshell, this is what the security model in this example is about. You go to a view called Wiki Page Add, and it says, hey, you got to have the edit permission to invoke this view. So then the security model says, well, you've got a context called root, and root says anybody who's a group editor has that permission. I'm going to ask the current user who they are, and then I'm going to find out if they're in that group. Yep, they're in that group. They have the edit permission. You say you allow the edit permission. We're good. That then lets you go to different parts of your site and apply these security statements called ACLs, access control lists, and govern the security model rather than putting it inside all of your view code, which you are sure to screw up catastrophically down the line. Did I leave anything out?
I am giving a talk about this. This it takes hours and hours to explain how this works. So I'm giving a 25-minute talk.
He's giving a 4-hour talk in 25 minutes. Yeah.
On
Saturday. All right. Yes. All right. And then when we say it in public, we get an interesting letter. And that's, unlike all my other lies, that one's the truth. Rewind 3 minutes. That never happened. Okay, SQL Alchemy. You can go through this one on your own. It works, but we don't have enough time to go through all of it. So far, we've built our entire application. It just persists its data in memory. Well, I want to use a database. Well, Pyramid supports a ton of databases, both SQL databases, non-SQL databases, NoSQL databases, other kinds of databases which shall remain nameless. For relational databases in particular, SQL Alchemy appears to be the best package for integrating relational databases as an object relational mapper and ORM. This step shows using a database to list and add and edit and delete and view your pages by storing them. One of the things we do is we make a model. This is how you talk to SQL Alchemy, and you say, I've got these 3 things that need to be columns in a table. Then after that, I can deal with Python objects. And then later in my application, I want to get a list of all of the pages in the database, and I do it with that command, and it gives me back a sequence of objects. And I also said to sort it by title. And then if I want to add a page, that's what I do. That's not that complicated. If I want to view a page based on the UID and the route, that's what I do. This command. And then if I want to delete a page at a UID, that's what I do. So that's SQL Alchemy in a nutshell. I realize I'm leaving a lot out of this. But it's here. And thanks to changes that Chris made an hour ago, the tests run as well. And a lot of discussion in here about hooking up databases. So, any questions on the concept of relational databases in Pyramid or SQL Alchemy? That's one of those questions I don't expect an answer for. Oh, there you go.
Yes, it is.
I think in time for PyCon, he just released the long-awaited 0.8 with a change log that is monstrous. So Michael Bayer, in charge of SQL Alchemy, is doing a fantastic job. Anybody else have any points or questions about SQL Alchemy or databases in Pyramid? All right. Okay, let's get over towards the wrap-up. Pyramid has ambitions to serve both the low end and the high end. We didn't talk about many of the high end features, but they are there and they are very interesting if you have ambitious applications. Docs are available on the Pyramid website. But also if you are a company that has need for getting up to speed on some of the advanced stuff, you can, instead of import Pyramid, you can import McDonough and get him to come on site for a week and get your team up to speed. There is a company with someone in this room who did that last year, I believe. Brought Chris in for a week, and it was very productive to figure the right ways to do Pyramid and get their people up to speed quickly. Regarding this tutorial, PyCon is encouraging you to go to that URL and say wonderful things about me. If you have ugly things to say, there's a different URL I will share with you later. But seriously, this is a very different way of doing tutorials. I realize that it's hit or miss. Please come give me feedback about the format if you felt like it was too much, too little, wrong audience, whatever. But that kind of way of we do it one step at a time, here's code, you cut and paste, and you read and all that stuff is a little different than sitting and listening to someone blather for 3 hours. So give me feedback on whether that worked for you or whether it could be tweaked in some other way. The best 2 words in any presentation, in conclusion. Pyramid is doing really well. We have a booth that we would love for you to come hang out with. Now that you're Pyramid experts, you can put on the shirt and represent us in the booth. Thank you for coming to this tutorial. Any closing comments?